What is the disruption or loss of productivity and how to claim for it? Disruption can be thought of as a disturbance to contractors' planned progress of work that result in a loss of productivity, causing it to incur additional unreimbursed expenditure on labor and plant. The Society of Construction Law has defined the disruption as disturbance, hindrance, or interruption to a contractor's normal working methods, resulting in a lower efficiency. If caused by employer, it may give rise to right to compensation, either under the contract or as a breach of contract. The underlying principle is that if 50 man-hours were required to be expended to complete part of works, but the contractor suffered a loss in productivity as a result of disrupting event, and it required 75 man-hours to complete the same amount of works, that is 50% loss in productivity, then the additional cost will be incurred by the contractor as a consequence of the disruption. There are a number of common factors which can result in lost productivity in a project. For example, trade stacking. The operations take place within physically limited space with other contractors. Another example is morale and attitude. Excessive hazards, competition for overtime or over-inspection, numerous variation, or poor site conditions are examples of that. Reassigning of manpower. That's moving manpower to accommodate changes or rescheduling. Joint occupancy. That change involves additional trains not anticipated at the time of tender. Logistics, like difficulties in supply if developers supply goods, plant, and equipment, or changes causing difficulties in procurement and delivery of material. Fatigue, stopping basic contract work to give attention to other works. For example, changes. Ripple, changes in one work package having an effect on other work not directly connected with the change. Each of the factors above are recognized within the industry as a legitimate disruption issues that can significantly affect the productivity. Analyzing and quantifying. There are numerous ways to calculate loss of productivity, and there is no single uniform agreement within the construction industry as to a preferred methodology of calculating loss of productivity. In all cases, contractor must firstly identify the events that have given rise to the works being disruptive and to demonstrate that such events entitle the contractor to recover costs. These methods typically fall into two categories: measurement of productivity and examination of actual cost. Measurement of productivity can be either measurement miles or measurement by industry standard. Now, measurement mile is most widely accepted method for quantifying disruption claims. The approach compares productivity achieved on identical activities for undisrupted and disrupted periods or section of the work, while industry standards uses industry productivity benchmarks adjusted for regional variances and compares these with the actual productivity achieved during disruptive periods. In effect, the industry standard replaces the measured mile benchmark for undisrupted works. The third method is comparing with similar projects. Contractor compares productivity based on anticipated productivity during tender, for example, with the actually achieved during the disruptive period. Contractor anticipated productivity is required to be supported by reference to similar project in order to demonstrate the reasonableness of using this benchmark. Productivity analysis. This method requires the collection of cost data into time periods, work function, and comparing it to estimate cost for performing the same work in the time periods, work function, and areas before applying the disruptive factors. The second part here is about examination of cost. First method is total cost. This method simply provides that the contractor compares its planned and actual labor or equipment cost for performing the work. The difference is then claimed for the disruption. The method is typically the last resort where available project records are insufficient to support alternative methods. The second method under this category is modified total cost. This method modifies the total cost claim in order to eliminate some of the inherent inaccuracies in the total cost method. This may include adjustment to the contractor's tender allowances so as not to hold employer accountable for contractor inefficiencies or increased costs outside of employer contractual responsibility. Whether you need help with claims, disputes, or drafting, reviewing, or managing contracts, we can help. Click the link in the description for free consultation and find out how Pioneer International Project Management Consultant can help you today.